You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a search bar, trying to figure out the perfect combination of words to find the thing you're looking for. But what if the search bar could actually understand you and not just the words you type? Well, that's exactly what's happening with a new AI revolution in shopping, and we're going to dive deep into it by looking at Amazon's brand new assistant, Rufus.
I mean, look at this. This isn't just a search for hiking boots. This is a whole shopping mission. You've got features, you've got constraints, you've got personal taste all mashed together. For a classic keyword-based search engine, this is an absolute nightmare. This isn't a query. It's the start of a real conversation.
So, that's the real puzzle here, isn't it? How do you connect our kind of messy, human way of asking for things with the computer's super rigid world of data? The answer, it turns out, is a totally new generation of AI that's designed to think less like a calculator and more like a really helpful expert at your favorite store.
And that's where Amazon Rufus comes in. Now, this is not just another chatbot. This is a generative AI assistant that has been trained specifically on shopping. It's built from the ground up to get those complicated conversational questions we were just talking about, so it can make comparisons and give you recommendations to steer you toward the perfect item. And to really get how powerful this is, we need to break down how it actually thinks.
Okay, so step one, and this is probably the most important piece of the whole puzzle, is figuring out what you really mean. It's not about the specific keywords you type, it's about the goal. What are you actually trying to do? The AI has to get to the intent behind your words.
Just take a look at this real question from an Amazon user about bike parts. This person isn't just searching for a brake. They're looking for confidence, right? They need to know if it's compatible, if it's good quality, if it's easy to install. They're asking for a complete solution, not just a product. So to handle this, the AI needs what researchers call a user intent taxonomy. Think of it like a rule book. Before it can even think about finding an answer, it has to classify the question. Is this person just asking for a fact? Are they looking for opinions? Or do they need a straight-up recommendation? Getting this part right is absolutely everything.
And this is where you can see the huge leap forward. Check out this table. Older AI models, the kind trained on, the entire internet, would get totally confused. They'd see a shopping question like, is this a good replacement? And call it a debate, which, let's be honest, is totally useless. But the new model, because it's trained specifically for e-commerce, gets it. It sees that same question and correctly identifies it as a recommendation with 99% accuracy. That specialization is what makes it so much smarter for us as shoppers.
All right, so the AI can understand what you're asking. That's a huge win. But a brilliant question doesn't mean much if all the answers are stuffed in a messy, disorganized library. So that brings us to the second big challenge, creating order from the pure chaos of millions of products on the digital shelf. You know how product titles are often just this jumble of keywords all crammed in there for old search engines? Well, the AI basically acts like a digital librarian. It reads this messy title and neatly pulls out all the critical facts, the brand, the model, the size, the count, and organizes them into this clean, structured format. All of a sudden, you can actually compare apples to apples.
It does this with a really clever two-step process. Think of it like a researcher and a fact-checker working together. First, the Ask model is like a super fast researcher. It scans all the text and just generates a big list of all the possible facts. Then, the Verify model comes in like a tough editor and fact-checks that list, throwing out anything that's wrong. This makes sure the final data is incredibly accurate.
And that same organizing power gets applied to customer reviews. I mean, instead of you having to scroll through pages and pages of comments trying to figure out what people really think, the AI does all that heavy lifting for you. It reads all that feedback and cooks it down into a single, easy-to-read summary. It's basically the wisdom of the crowd, available in an instant. And the way it does this is a really smart hybrid approach. First, a super efficient extractive model zips through all the reviews and just pulls out the 10 most important, most representative sentences. Then, a much more powerful abstractive model takes just those 10 sentences and writes a brand new, totally fluent summary. It's the perfect mix of speed and quality.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just limited to English. The whole system is built to be cross-lingual. So it can read reviews in English and spit out a perfect summary in Spanish or French or Hindi. It's breaking down language barriers and making the global marketplace a reality for pretty much everyone.
So let's do a quick recap. The AI understands what you're asking, and it's organized all the products into a nice, clean library. So now it's time for the grand finale, the most important step of all, bringing it all together to make that perfect match. This is where something called session-based recommendations comes into play. And the key word here is session. The AI isn't just looking at what you bought 6 months ago. It's analyzing your behavior right now, the specific sequence of things you're clicking on in this one visit, to figure out what your current mission is.
These specialized AI models are incredible at this. They spot patterns in the attributes you're looking at. Maybe you click on Nike, then running shoes, then filter by size 10. The AI sees that sequence, learns your goal, and then uses that context to guess the most logical thing to show you next.
But you know what? It's not all about these fancy models. There's another incredibly powerful signal, the behavior of millions of other shoppers just like you. The system learns from gigantic data sets of customer traffic, noticing which products tend to get clicked on and bought for certain searches, and then it just ranks those products higher. It's the wisdom of the crowd, but on a massive scale. So when you put all of these pieces together, what do you really have? It's so important to understand that this isn't just about making a slightly better search bar. What we're really watching here is a fundamental change in the entire way we find and buy things online. And this leads to a huge takeaway for anyone who sells anything online. For years, the whole game was SEO, search engine optimization. Well, that's changing, fast. Now the goal is to structure your product information so an AI like Rufus can understand it and recommend it. Being optimized for AI, that's the new SEO. And this is really just the start. The next step in this evolution isn't a shopping assistant, it's a true shopping agent. An AI that can handle the entire journey for you, from all the initial research and comparisons, all the way to negotiating and even making the final purchase on your behalf. Which leaves us all with one last kind of mind-bending question to think about. As these AI agents get more and more capable, you have to wonder, will your next purchase be made by you, or will it be made for you? The technology to make that a reality is already here, and it's changing how we shop, one question at a time.